Logs are extremely useful, but there is a problem. Sometimes logs quietly grow in the background and start consuming a lot of disk space. For example, on my Fedora desktop, the systemd journal logs are taking around 2.6 gigabytes. That's not a big deal for a desktop with 900 GB disk space. But on a production server where disk space is limited, this becomes a real concern. This is the its first community forum server running on Ubuntu 22.04. And as you can see that around 72% of the 50 GB disk space is already in use. On servers, every gigabyte matters. So if I can keep the log size below 500 MB, I get 2 GB of precious disk storage back. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to clean up the systemd logs, and you can replicate the same on your system, on your desktop or the servers. Everything I'm going to show you here or from a real system or my own desktop and my own server. So everything real. First, let's see where those log files are. They should be usually in var log journal location. Plenty of old log files of around 72 MB in size, as you can see here. If I check it on the Fedora desktop, it too has plenty of journal log files of around 120 MB in size. The log size file difference will be clear to you by the end of this video. So you may be tempted to delete the log files using the rm command, but you shouldn't do that. Systemd provides several dedicated mechanisms to clean up log files. Before we do any of that, let's rotate the logs so that any active log files is archived first. This is optional, but always a good practice to follow. The first method is deleting logs based on age. Systemd gives you a very handy option called vacuum time. For example, if I want to delete all logs older than 14 days, I run journalctl vacuum time equals 14d. And that's it. It removes archived logs older than 14 days. You'll also see messages telling you which log files were deleted and how much space was freed when you run this command. Simple, clean, effective. On a server, every megabyte counts, just as every subscriber counts on a YouTube channel. So do subscribe if you have not already. The second method is limiting logs by size. I'll do that on the desktop. Rotate the log first and okay, oops, I have to use sudo here. I was already root on the Ubuntu server, so I didn't need it there. So with sudo, let's say I want to total size to stay under 72 megabytes. I run journalctl vacuum size equals 72 m for MB, G for GB. No, pretty obvious thing here. So what this does is it deletes old archived logs until the disk uses drops below 72 MB. There's also another way to control log growth. You can limit the number of journal files. So instead of keeping dozens of archived logs, you can restrict it to just a few files. This way, older logs automatically get removed when the limit is reached. So we have deleted the log files and we have got the disk space back. But here is the important part. Everything we have done so far is temporary. Give it a few weeks or months and the logs will grow again. So instead of cleaning manually every time, let's make these changes permanent. For that, we edit the journald configuration file. Usually you will find it in the etc systemd journald.conf file, but in some systems it could be in userlib systemd directory. In either case, before editing, make a backup of the journald file. Okay, so open the file. Inside, you will find several parameters. The important ones are system max use, system max file size, and system max files. System max use controls the total disk space consumed by journal logs. System max file size controls how large each individual log files can be, and system max files limits how many log files are kept on the system. So here, I change it so that logs never exceed 500 megabytes. Each log file is maximum 72 MB and it can only have 10 log files in total. You don't have to change all three parameters. You can simply restrict the total disk space, like I did here on the Ubuntu server. After making the changes, restart the journal service. From now on, the system automatically enforces these limits. No more manual cleanup. See, logs are important. If you're troubleshooting a serious issue, you will need those logs. This is why keep a balance between keeping useful logs and protecting your disk space. I usually don't do server related tutorials on this channel, but I thought of sharing how I handle things on real production machines and hence this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay subscribed, keep on Linuxing, and I'll see you in the next one.